was finally recognized as the founder of Chicago by city and state officials. He had been considered the city's first non-native settler since the 1850s, but many failed to honor him on the level of white pioneers until several decades after his death. Sable was also the first person to perceive the importance of Chicago, then called Esquicago, a Native American word used for smelly waters since the area carried the scent of wild onions. Chicago eventually grew from a small trading post to one of the largest cities in the United States. The city is now an important commercial center, but its success was born out of Sable's intimate relations with the native tribes, with whom he collaborated to lay the foundations of what would later become an important center of commerce, trade, and American industry. Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable was born around 1745 in the village of Saint-Marc on the island of Saint-Domingue. The area is now known as Haiti. His mother was a free black slave who is believed to have been killed in Haiti when Sable was 10. His father was a white French mariner who owned a fleet of ships. Upon the death of his mother, who was killed during a Spanish raid on his village in 1755, the young Sable had to swim out to sea where he found refuge aboard one of his father's ships. Sable's father eventually sailed him to France to receive a proper education, and it was there that Sable developed the love of language. He learned to speak English and Spanish in addition to his native tongue, French. In France, he also became enamored with fine art and culture, and he later acquired several valuable works of art. In time, Sable began sailing as a seaman for his father. On one of his voyages, Sable traveled from Saint-Domingue, Haiti, to the French colony of New Orleans. En route, the ship was damaged, but Sable abandoned it before it sank. Together with a childhood friend named Jacques-Philippe Clémorgon, an injured Sable made it to the mainland, but without the paperwork that identified him as a free person. To make matters worse, New Orleans had been seized by the Spanish, who would certainly view Sable as not only a man worthy of imprisonment, but also enslavement. To his relief, French Jesuits rescued and protected Sable while he mended. Sable did not remain in New Orleans long. After recovering, he wisely departed the Spanish-occupied territory to explore the wild interior of the North. Sable's friend, Jacques Clémorgon, who would later become quite wealthy himself, accompanied him. Sable did not traipse off into the unknown foolhardily, however. Before they embarked on their journey, the two men met with a member of the Choctaw people, who was a native of the Great Lakes region. He worked for a Catholic mission, and Sable convinced him to join the expedition north along the Mississippi River. The Choctaw man taught Sable and Clémorgon the art of trapping animals and routine survival skills. By the next spring, the Choctaw man introduced the two explorers to Chief Pontiac, a legendary intertribal leader of the Great Lakes, who led his people against British military occupation in Pontiac's war. Chief Pontiac grew to like, respect, and trust both men, to the point where he enlisted them to negotiate peace with neighboring tribes such as the Illinois, the Ottawa, and the Miami. Before long, Sable, Clémorgon, and the Choctaw man trekked throughout the neighboring territories and established trade with various tribes and even Europeans. By the 1770s, Sable settled in Peoria, Illinois. He was eventually accepted as a member of the surrounding Potawatomi tribe, whose language he learned. Sable's good relations with the Native Americans encouraged him to establish a farm and trading post on the northern bank of the Chicago River around 1779. While the cabin he built is usually depicted as a modest, humble structure, descriptions from the era reveal that Sable lived more luxurious than is currently thought. Documents from the sale of Sable's 800-acre property in 1800 describe his cabin as spacious and complete with a stone fireplace and a large salon with 5 corner rooms. The estate also enjoyed bakehouses, smokehouses, stables, living quarters for employees, mainly from the Potawatomi tribe, and a garden and orchard residing in a fenced area. And let's not forget the aforementioned collection of artwork he acquired. In addition to fine mirrors and walnut furniture, Du Sable also owned a supply station, a mill, a dairy, hogs, horses, and livestock. During the American Revolution, Du Sable was forced off his land for a time, and he established another trading post in Michigan. But following the war, Du Sable returned to his Chicago estate. Du Sable married a woman from the Potawatomi tribe named Kihihawa, but he called her Catherine. Together they had a son named Jean-Baptiste Point Du Sable Jr. and a daughter named Suzanne. Following the sale of his property on May 7, 1800, Du Sable returned to Peoria, Illinois, before relocating to St. Charles, Missouri. He died in St. Charles at his daughter's home on August 28, 1818, and was buried in a nearby Catholic cemetery. The subject of this video was featured in my book, 45 People, Places, and Events in Black History You Should Know. To order a copy,